Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog, and I kind of wanted to talk about the Norman Powell trade today because it's a little confusing. Trailblazers fans feel like they got hoed, and it's understandable, understandably so. But I kind of wanted to talk about this because I feel like this was done for a reason, and I feel like not a lot of people are covering it, so I wanted to talk about that. So in case you guys don't know, the Portland Trailblazers traded Norman Powell and Robert Covington to the Los Angeles Clippers today for Justice Winslow, Eric Bledsoe, Keon Johnson, and a 2025 second-round pick via the Detroit Pistons. And on the surface, this doesn't make sense, and honestly, it still doesn't. The only reason I see them making this trade is because of a CJ McCollum trade and re-signing Anthony Simons or whatever, and it all kind of, in the grand scheme of things, maybe makes sense, and I'm gonna try to project some light onto that in this video because I'm going to be honest with you, man. Norman Powell is a solid player. The Clippers got a guy who's going to be productive. I mean, he does most of his work around the rim. He's shooting free throws. He's gotten way better at shooting threes. Putting him next to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in the future, great asset if you ask me. He's got another 5 years on his contract. He's making in his last year, he's making like $20 million. So not a bad pickup, if I'm being honest with you. It was a pretty solid pickup for the Clippers. They're picking up Robert Covington, who they'll be able to let just walk at the end of the season if they really want to. He's making I think $12 million this year or something like that, 12.8. He's got 1 year left on his deal, but Covington's not really what he used to be. You know, he's not really a reliable offensive scorer. He's more like a catch and shoot. He's like a 3-and-D guy, and even the defense is not what it used to be. So, you know, they can let Robert Covington walk, and they got Norman Powell for Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and that second-round pick. And when you're looking at it from the Trailblazers' perspective, it's kind of like on the face value, you got a second-round pick via the Detroit Pistons. Most second-round picks don't really pan out, and I'm going to be honest with you, by 2023, the Detroit Pistons will be way better than a, top 5 pick NBA team. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be probably fighting for a play-in spot, or maybe even be the 8th or 7th seed in the playoffs by then. You know, they're going to get a high draft pick this year, and they still have Saddiq Bey, who's been playing out of his fucking mind recently. So the Detroit Pistons are the only place for them to go at this point is up. And Eric Bledsoe's a solid backup point guard. He's got 2 years left on his deal. He's making $19 million next year. That's partially guaranteed. Keon Johnson, we have yet to see what he's going to become, but he's a young player, young asset, so I understand why you would want that. And Justice Winslow is just kind of a fucking lost cause. I hate to say that, but he's a true point forward, okay, in a sense that he can play point guard, bring the ball up the floor. He's 6'6", 25 years old, but the man couldn't hit water if he was dropped in a fucking lake when it comes to shooting. And so I think to myself, you traded Norman Powell for Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a 2025 second rounder, which is probably, whatever that second round pick is, chances are that guy doesn't even, remain in the NBA for a year. You know what I'm saying? Most second round picks don't pan out. They're usually G League players, if anything, or they end up playing overseas or some shit. Now, I will say this, the Portland Trailblazers did free up about $4 million in cap space by making this trade. And I've seen it going around online already, and that's everyone saying CJ McCollum is next. He's the next guy to go. And by freeing up this extra $4 million in cap space, I kind of have to agree with that sentiment. And the reason I say that is because CJ McCollum is making $30 million this year. He's got some years left on his contract, and I think the incentive here, and I could be wrong, but this is what makes the most sense to me, is the Portland Trailblazers traded Norman Powell and Covington to free up $4 million in cap space, and then they want to trade CJ McCollum to someone else and have the ability to re-sign Anthony Simons in the offseason. And Anthony Simons becomes your new CJ McCollum. And Anthony Simons has been playing amazing this year. But to me, that's what makes the most sense. I think by trading Norman Powell and Robert Covington, that $4 million in cap space gives you a little more flexibility to pull off a CJ McCollum trade. And we know that CJ McCollum has been getting shopped. I don't know who they're gonna trade him to or for what. I haven't watched the Trailblazers much, but I know they have like Larry Nance, and they could use a little bit of help up front. You know what I'm saying, in the power forward spot and at the small forward position. But they just traded away a guy they could have played at small forward. But I don't know. I don't know what the plan is here. I think going forward, I would think, and this is just, on the outside looking in, or a quick drop, if you will, is that in the future, I think they want to play Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons in the starting lineup together and trade CJ McCollum for somebody they can play next to those two. To me, that's what makes the most sense, at least in this particular situation. But from the Clippers side of things, good trade. Good trade for you guys. You get Robert Covington, who's on a 1-year deal, so you can choose to keep him or bring him back for less money in the offseason. He's 31. He's basically a 3-and-D guy, not what he used to be on defense. And Norman Powell playing next to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard gives you something to look forward to. He's only 28, so he's at least going to be good for, I would say, the remainder of the 5 years that are on his deal. He's going to be at least, what's he going to be, 33 by the time that deal's over, so he'll be like just towards the end of his prime, and then you can let him walk if you want. So, you know what, I think the Clippers really needed to do this because being that Paul George is out, at least it gives you somebody to put next to what you already have. Norman Powell's 41% three-point shooter, has a real attack to basket play style. He's been shooting a pretty decent amount of free throws per game. I think it's 5 or something like that. So yeah, pretty good pickup for the Clippers. Nice little additions that they got, but the Trailblazers, man, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I just don't. To me, the most ideal situation here is they freed up the $4 million in cap space to make a CJ McCollum trade. That's all I think. So tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more. This has been the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.